Hey guys, it's Amy, and I just pulled up to a big parking garage at the Dallas Market Center. I'm about to go in and check it out and try to get a little bit of footage for you guys. It's the summer market 2021, and I haven't been up here in a while because of the pandemic. I'm really interested to see what it's going to be like. You know, I'm sure a lot of stores closed during the past year, but now I think there's probably a lot of pent-up desire to shop, and so it may be a really busy market. I'm not sure what it's going to be like. I'm going to check it out. But one of my goals today is to really get the down low on what is required to get in, to get a buyer badge or an exhibitor pass or a guest pass. I'm going to try and get all the specific info for you guys so you'll know what that entails, so you would be prepared if you ever did want to try to get the credentials to come into one of these wholesale buying centers, so you'll kind of know what is required for that. So I'm gonna check out. I got my credentials such a long time ago. Things were pretty different then, and I'm not sure exactly what they are now. And so I'm going to kind of get an updated set of rules about what they're expecting from you now. So I'll pass that along to you and let you know. One of the things I also want to say, I've got a little footage of where I'm parked versus where the actual World Trade Center is, and you can get the idea that the first tip I would give you is wear comfortable shoes if you come here because it's a lot of walking. It's a big place and you probably have to park pretty far away. There are shuttle buses that will take you from one building to the other. Sometimes I want to wait for them and sometimes I don't. I just want to get in there and get going. So yeah, it's up to you, but I will give you a few tips and we'll check it out and see what it looks like up there today. Okay, so here are the shuttle buses I was talking about that will take you to all the different buildings that are participating in the different markets. That huge building in back, the tall one, is the World Trade Center. The one in front of it that's connected to it is called the Trade Mart. And here across the street, this kind of red brick building is Market Hall. And during the biggest markets of the year, they will have booths in all three of these buildings and things happening in all three of these buildings. Now, there are only a limited number of entrances in each of these buildings because these are open to the trade only, and every time you go into one of the entrances you have to check in. You need to be pre-registered with them, and then they will print a badge for you that says you're allowed to be there. So I started off in Market Hall because it was closest to where I was parking. There are temporaries set up there. Every time you go in, you'll see an entrance like this that has people sitting there, and you have to give them your ID, and they will look you up, and then they'll give you a buyer badge or an exhibitor badge or whatever kind of badge you have, and they will let you go in after you've gone through the checkpoint. Here's some shots of the vintage temporaries, and if you're interested in those, I'll link a video that I did just talking about those specifically. But once you've got your badge, you wear it around your neck, you show it no matter what building you go into, and then you can pass from building to building as long as you're showing your badge every time you go inside. Okay, I'm going to move to just some shots of the World Trade Center, the big center atrium, and some other booths and permanent showrooms that I shot while I was there, while I talk about the credentials that you need in order to get in as a buyer in one of these locations. You can register on site or online, but it's really best to do this registration in advance if you can, to make sure that you're going to have everything you need and that you won't get turned away once you've already gone up to the market. Now, if you own what they call a storefront location, which is what we always called a brick and mortar store, it is easiest to get in with the basic credentials that they've asked for years, which is to have a sales tax permit, to have a copy of a signed active lease, and then a picture of the storefront of the actual physical business. If you don't have that, then they've gotten a little bit more being sticklers about what you have to show and how often you have to requalify. And so I am here to talk to those of you who maybe have an antique mall booth or an online business and you're wondering if you can get into one of these places to do some shopping. And let's talk about what's required for that. For a retail location in a kiosk or booth, that is, you are renting a space inside another larger location, you have to requalify every 2 years to make sure that you still are actively participating in retail with your booth. And what you need to show is a sales tax permit and a copy of an active lease showing the use of the premises and your signature page, and then 3 months of recent paid booth rental receipts within the past 6 months, so that you're proving that you are still actively leasing this place and using it. Now, for an online business or a business from home, you also have to requalify every 2 years. And what you need to show for this is the sales tax permit and then one of the following, depending on what type of business you have. Either an active live website with a shopping cart and a minimum of 30 items on your website, or $3,000 minimum in wholesale invoices within the last 12 months. Say you do shows out of your home or something like that. or a signed quarterly state sales tax return with a payment check or an e-file receipt showing sales and taxes paid. And if you haven't paid taxes or can't show that, then you have to show wholesale invoices. Now, another way that people are allowed to get in to the mart is if they are a registered or an independent interior designer or architect or builder, and those people are allowed to bring clients with them. So if you know someone like that, you could get in with them as their guest. Another way you can get in as a guest of just a regular person who has a buyer badge is to purchase a guest pass. They only do that about 2 times a year at the biggest markets in summer and winter, and that pass costs $50 per person to go in as a guest. Those vary by market, but most of the markets it's something similar to that. The other type of badge they give out is an exhibitor badge, which you will get if you ever have a booth there or in a showroom there, but that does not necessarily give you the privileges of a buyer. However, most showrooms will extend professional courtesy to you if you explain who you are and you want to write an order for something. Usually they will allow you to do that if you meet their minimum. So the last thing I'll say about the market is it's always Christmas somewhere at the market. And the other thing is, if you have a buyer's badge, there's always a free beverage to be had somewhere. So cheers to you. And if you have any questions about wholesale buying, leave them in the comments and I'll try to answer them for you. Thanks a lot.